we had this panel previously focusing on the regulations, and this is amazing because yesterday we had the same situation. Also at the beginning we had the meeting with the regulators. There was the representative of the National Bank of Czech Republic, of Czechia nowadays it's more fashionable, the representative of the Bank of Georgia plus Visa, and one more bank. So we have similar situation now, but like a huge part of banking, especially nowadays, is unfortunately IT, which was super expensive years ago. Probably you remember this huge, crazy budgets. Nowadays, thanks to AI, as our moderator, our previous moderator said, it's everybody uses AI, and of course, in banking, we also try to use AI. The question is, on the one side, we see that the AI helps to decrease the costs of IT, especially of the development and so on. But maybe on the other hand, the employees start to use more and more an AI, and we as a banks, we pay more and more for that. Because this is also one thing which we already see globally, that for now, all of these AI models and AI companies are giving us, as a consumers or companies, these products, let's say for free. It's like a trial period, I think. It's like, there was a huge scandal a few years ago in US when the drug companies start to give the doctors the painkillers for free so they can give it for free to the patients. But after taking 3 of the pills, you are already addicted. And the next time you have to, of course, buy it. And I see that it's similar now situation with the AI. We get it for free for $10, $20, $99, which is for free at the end, because we see how many millions, hundreds of billions, millions the AI companies are burning on the computing, on development and everything. And then now we start to be addicted. But let's talk maybe how we can use it in banking, and let's talk about this legacy of the systems, as this is one of our topics. Across here, the region of Central and Eastern Europe, we see that we are amazing in the digitalization of the front of the banking. Here we are amazing, including Polish banks, Czech banks, Romanian banks. If you compare how the banking system from the user perspective see between Europe and US, you will be shocked. If any of you have an opportunity to see how the American banking system looks, you will feel that you are looking at a accountancy system from the 90s. So we did this job in the front, but now we have to do the job in the back office. Everything what is behind the front, what the consumers, SMEs, corporate customers, they don't see it. So let's start, Marius, with this. So many organizations invest heavily in replacing legacy systems. Are already, yet the expense business benefits often fail to materialize. And the question is, why do you think it happens? Because there are huge money invested, and what happens that sometimes we don't see the results?
Yes, thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here and represent Eurolife Romania, tech-driven insurance company. It's from insurance, not from banking. From my experience, many organizations fail to realize expected benefits from modernized initiative, because they think the modernization is technology replacement project rather than business transformation project. They think very simple. All system, new system, and problem solved, which is, in my opinion, a very wrong approach, and never will bring value for the business. When the company want to replace the system without taking in consideration the business challenges, they carry the all problems from the old system in the new system. The complex process, bad data, poor quality data, and manual workaround. They implement technology, but they keep the same way they are working. In my opinion, the modernization process should follow another path. Before any implementation, all organizations should take in consideration for critical areas. The first is a redesign process, and this is a very, very tough task because people naturally are resistant to change, and the leaders should take in consideration this fear. The second is cleaning the data. In all system, you will find a lot of duplicate data, a lot of incomplete data. And if you move the data from old system to new system, you will move problems from old system to the new system. Cleaning the data, it is more important in the era of AI. We talked earlier about AI.
And it's more possible in the era of AI to use it to clear the data. But then, of course, probably as a financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, we have to be a little bit aware of these hallucinations which sometimes occur.
I can say that AI implementation without clean data will become a very expensive experiment. The third area is automations. We should take out the manual workaround and create efficient workflows. And the fourth one is new operating model. We should take in consideration accountability, ownership, and new decision-making process. I can say that the goal is not to replace the old system. The goal is to create an organization which can adapt faster to market changes, to take quick decision for customers, and to take better decision based on trusted data. The data is the foundation, the modernization is the enabler, and people, good people, are the catalyst. Only on those three elements are working together, modernization will deliver real value for the organization.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anybody like to add something to this context, maybe? Servan, Ion?
Yeah, just to touch a little bit on this data quality thing. I think there was an MIT study last year saying that 95% of the AI pilots fail to deliver expected value. They deliver some value, but marginal benefits, not the promise of AI. And I think the main two reasons, just to underline what Marius was saying, the data quality was the main reason for the failure of this project.
Yeah.
And the next one was choosing the right use cases, and that has to do with processes. So, yeah, I fully support what you're saying.
And Ian, having you here just for a second, what do you think about what Marius just said, that the changes in the systems should follow first of the changes in data, or like to raffinery of the data? There is such a word, I think, in IT.
We're involved in a lot of migration process. That's how we help banks modernize. We move old legacy systems to newer systems. And every time there's such a big project, we have the conversation, should we maybe look at the data before moving it? And we always say, if we don't improve the data, enhance the data, because now we have the AI tools that can help us do that very efficiently, it's a lost opportunity if we don't do that. And unfortunately, I must say, in most cases, clients are always pressed by tough deadlines, and they say, no, let's just get the data into a new system, and then we worry about it later. But as I said, I think it's a lost opportunity, and sooner or later we'll have to come to that point that we clean the data, we sync the systems within them so we can actually benefit from what AI can offer.
And talking about this process, we will go back because there is also one, let's say, third strong part of that. This is like a culture and human, but let's go back to that in a minute. I just like to add one more thing, which is the step keeping with the topic data. So the data governance, Melinda, to you, because this is a topic. So the data governance, as we spoke, must be a part of the transformation program. So this is exactly the topic.
Yes, it was mentioned exactly previously. So this is the topic I cover, data governance. Since 16 years, I'm trying to make data behave. So, the biggest misconception that is considered modernization is considered as technology challenge, and data is considered as technology project. So, companies invest a lot. Invest time and money in replacing legacy systems, moving data to cloud, or buying new platforms. But however, if they migrate inconsistent, inaccurate data, so poor data quality, and if they have unclear data ownership, which is the basement for this process, so what we do, we just move that garbage to the new environment.
Exactly what Marius said.
Yes. So just by a simple example, if you ask someone in the bank, what is the number of customers do you have? Which might sound very
it's the simplest question.
Simplest question, but it's not. It's the hardest one. So if you ask 5 different departments, how many customers do you have? Like the one from retail will respond like active customers. From CRM, they will tell you the registered customers. Marketing will tell you customers that do have contacts in the system.
Marketing consent and so on,
Risk will consider customers that they have exposure, loan exposure. And finance will consider customers that they are generating revenues. So, in fact, none of them is wrong. We have 5 different answers, and we have 5 versions of truth. So, if we cannot agree on what customer is, then how we can move further with AI models and development. So, modernization should be not viewed as technology transformation, first of all. So we should take opportunity to establish a proper ownership, improve data quality, and define sources and build trust on data, which is most important.
We will come back to this topic, but like maybe a question to you, to all of you. So how can organizations how they can avoid this transformation and this moving the problem from the old garbage to the new garbage? How they can avoid it?
Yeah, there is first process that business should be heavily involved until business will consider that it's their data, it's not IT data. So until they will be fully involved, not for the purpose of documentation and framework regulation as BCBS and other regulations. So as they feel themselves part of the process, so they're responsible for defining business terms, preparing glossary, and define what is critical data elements, set the proper data quality controls over there, and help with the help of IT to prepare the data lineage. So each user will be able to know what they have in case of any question from regulatory, like how this number came up, because the regulator is not interested in fancy dashboards, but it's interested to know how this number is coming. So then you will be able to explain when you know the whole lineage, the whole data flow, and you will be able to identify where the problem occurs, like if it is in a data entry or if it is any mapping process or transformation process during the ETL, or where does it happen. So this way, business would be able to understand and to know to whom to direct. I mean, if it is an issue for IT, if there should be added an additional validation in data entry to don't happen again, or there is something in the process that someone who prepared reports or did ETL, it was something wrong defined in data mapping or something.
So just to maybe summarize it, and so first, before the migration, identify which data are critical, because probably we have some legacy of data which we don't need anymore. We should store them because of some maybe legal or compliance purposes, but like we don't need them. Then decide who is the owner of the data, and then may give them the ownership so they can check and make this check. They use AI or whatever they use, they have to be responsible for.
Well, I would just add that this data literacy is one of the biggest challenge, because as I said, maybe in documentation you will have the ownership, the names, but when it comes to responsibility and reacting over a specific problem, so they still hesitate, or maybe they don't feel very comfortable, like they know they own the data. So it's our job to transmit and make them more.
The difference between ownership and responsibility, there's huge difference, especially in a huge corporation.
And accountability.
Accountability, yes, of course. Serban, one word to that?
Yeah, I would only, first of all, hello everyone, happy to be here. I would just maybe add something which was mentioned. I think it's also considering the fact that, again, this is not, as you rightfully said, this is not only an IT project, but more transversal project, which is a transversal project. So I would involve the resources from the organization as soon as possible in the project. I think this is one of the ingredients which is sometimes missing, from this type of project, because lacking the internal awareness, lacking the internal understanding of the impact of that specific project, and that specific project will bring not only for the internal employees but also for the customers. Also, if possible, along the way would be to modernize also the processes, not only because each of these technological heavy projects, as we are speaking about, usually core banking or rebuilding the entire tech stack from the very beginning, these are, again, perfect opportunities for the organization to put under question mark their existing processes and to take the time to get the customer to really make sure that they really understand the pain points. They prioritize the respective pain points, and they are trying to address this with this overall transformation program as soon as possible. So getting the customers and the internal employees as earliest in the project, co-constructing them, involve them, I would say it's key. And I would say that in my experience, I had somehow the luck to be present in building, let's say, the entire technology stack from the very beginning in a startup, or replacing only core banking, or making a big bang
in the current bank which I'm working. So changing not only core banking system but also all the other system satellites. So if I would put a common denominator, that would be it. Getting everybody involved from the very beginning.
I just once again, I just remind myself, I had the pleasure of making interview one day with the CEO of Revolut and the CEO of Monzo. Revolut probably, is Revolut in Romania? For sure they are.
Yes,
It's obvious they are here. They're everywhere. Monzo is not probably. But Monzo is similar to Revolut, but it's like more Britain and US. So, and they exactly emphasize one thing about the legacy systems and so on, but they don't have these problems because they just started like a few years ago. So, of course, and then the costs are totally different. Because if you don't have these legacy systems, these problems with the merger, I live in Berlin, but my heart is of course in Warsaw. So I'm traveling a lot to Warsaw, and in Warsaw, in Poland, we have this problem that there was so many mergers of the banks, and one of the bank, it's now, I don't know if they're French or Austrians, it's such a mix. So they are now combined of 14 banks because of the mergers, acquisition, changes for last 20 years. So imagine having 14 systems, 14 sources of data. I'm talking only about the core systems. To that we have like accountancy, blah, blah, blah. Crazy. Yeah. Sorry, Jan.
No, just coming back to this data governance topic, I think that it's vital, and people when they do modernization programs, they have to start with data governance. And obviously accountability, responsibility, it's the important topic there. But still, if they don't have the underlying systems that support good data governance, what can they do?
Yes.
So you have siloed systems of records. Some are updated live. Some get updated overnight in some batch processing. How do you govern that? And then on top of that, you want to put AI, and AI is looking at CRM, get some account balance from there. Then it's looking at the core banking. Then it's looking at some other system, loan origination, I don't know what. It finds 3 different answers, and then we're surprised it gives a wrong answer.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is the question. So what is the challenge during this legacy system modernization? Because we have one thing. The bank has to operate, the financial institution, the insurance company has to operate. We are obliged by law and by our millions of customers to work. The financial institution has to support the customers 24 hours a day. If not, there will be a run on the banks, it will not, or like in the insurance companies, the same.
Right. I mean, that's the biggest challenge. The banks, they operate very complex environments, IT environments. And if they run these modernization programs, it's like changing the engine of a car that runs 200 miles per hour on a highway.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah, sounds very difficult, yet they have to do it. So I would say this is the biggest challenge. And obviously you need proper tech to support that. You need systems that help you migrate while not interrupting the business. Actually, we've been in this business for more than 20 years, and we have a product that does exactly that, helps you run your business while migrating to newer systems. So that's a
on the other hand, this space station is going around the globe like, I don't know, 20 times an hour, and then they're still fixing something outside. It works,
Right. That's how it works in these modernization programs. Banks still need to operate while sometimes forced by clients and market expectations, sometimes forced by regulation. They have to modernize. Revolut is around and is setting the pace, so they need to adjust, but they still need to manage this huge legacy data that they have with them, and again, serve the clients at the same time.
Serban, this is also, I think, topic for you. So how banks modernize the systems without disrupting the operations, the business?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a challenge. It's a balance on one side on innovation, and with the operational stability. And I think the core ingredients in such usually in major transformation program, navigating major transformation programs, are again managing customer trust, which is, I mean, by far our biggest asset as any commercial organization, with the regulatory compliance and as well with the business continuity. And I think there are some, again, clear learnings from this. First one would be to adopt an evolutionary, not a revolutionary approach, as long as this is possible for the organization. As I said, I used to work in different organizations which managed different parts of digital transformation. So if possible, of course, the best approach would be to have a progressive iteration, sequential iterations of deployment, because somehow this provides better capability for the organization to respond, to manage better the change management with the customers, and also internally with the employees. Also building processes where the customer is really in the center of everything. So we're rebuilding somehow from scratch and using data as one of the biggest assets. Leveraging on cloud, and I think this was somehow also the subject of yesterday. Not only from the elasticity point of view, but also from, again, being able to deploy at a much higher pace. So considering that in our day-to-day life, the time to market is important at any rollouts that we have. And yeah, as we are exposing, so to speak, and that we are moving everything in terms of systems to digitally, we are interacting more and more digitally with our customers. The cybersecurity becomes much
This is another topic, of course, but
it's something which we all need to strengthen.
This is probably topic for another panel, the cybersecurity and
and I think also the last part would be, again, making sure that we are not rebuilding, as long as there are partners in the market which already have developed something. I would say that the first option would be to discuss with them and to embed the respective technology, because this brings, again, a better time to market. So it's important from the overall building the customer value proposition. All these elements are important.
Or maybe customers, or maybe at the end. But we have just last few minutes. Let's go back to this one topic which I skipped, which is people, employees. We speak a lot about companies, but the employees. Mariusz, we spoke before about it. What is harder to transform? Legacy systems or the mindset of the employees? I know the answer, but let's talk about it.
I will say that legacy system is not a big problem. Legacy thinking, it is the biggest problem. From technology perspective, you can define the roadmap, you can define the target architecture, you can allocate the budget, you can make a migration plan and execute it. And can be complex, can be time consuming, and can be expensive, but it is doable. From people perspective, it is something else. People have habits, have fear, and they have different ways of working. I know a story from a friend of mine. A big company invested millions of euro to replace the system, and at the end, a lot of people still use a big Excel file, and everybody knows this kind of habit. And they used to take decision based on intuition rather than trusted data. So the biggest problem is resistant to change, and resistant to change. And leadership, the leaders should take care, because when people heard the word modernization, they think immediately about disruption, about new tools, about losing control, and losing the relevance in the organization. So, and I will finish. The idea is the technology is very important, but the people and the leadership are the key factor for success.
Somebody like to add, please, of course.
Yeah. As it said, there should be, based on a data strategy, there should be, the biggest support should be from top level, from management. As he mentioned that people are afraid, to start using new technologies. I found it many times that we developed something and they were continuing to use the old ones. Like, I will continue this time, just this time, because
You have to turn off.
maybe because of the pressure. I'm talking mostly about the part of reporting. So because of the pressure and the deadlines, so people tend to continue the old ones. This is the biggest challenge to.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Somebody like to add something at the end? Maybe Ion?
Well, just a little touch on this humans and technology. I come from the technology side. I always focus to get the technology right. But we have noticed throughout the years that big projects, it doesn't matter how well you deliver the tech. If people are underlined, if they're not proper change management processes running in parallel with changing the tech, there's a big chance the tech will fail.
The tech will fail.
Yeah.
So just to summarize it in few words. So first we have to think about the organization, the people, then about the data, and then we can start the change. Thank you very much for this panel. Amazing experts. I highly recommend it to speak with my panelists later. We are staying here in this beautiful, beautiful venue for a whole day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very much.